This is the Monday Night Raw review here on the WWE podcast. We've got a lot to get to on this show, jam-packed show with Monday Night Raw's events, going through them piece by piece, Doudrop and her dominance over Becky Lynch, Maurice's attack from behind on Beth Phoenix, Randy Orton and Riddle interrupting the graduation ceremony of the Alpha Academy, and what was an absolutely stellar video package highlighting Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley at the Royal Rumble. All of this and so much more right after this. Let's talk about supplements for just a minute. The market of supplements is overcrowded, right? It's oversaturated. There's too many to choose from. You just don't know which one you want. You don't know which one's effective, what has potential harmful side effects. Well, I have one that I can tell you with confidence is not only not going to give you any of those negative side effects, but also will provide you with the energy that's sustainable. It doesn't have those crashes. And the product I'm talking about is called Energy Boost. It's from a company called Vitali Boost, and they sell a bunch of other great products. But you can check out the website at vitaliboost.com. That's VITALI boost.com. So what makes Energy Boost so great? Well, it's made from natural, clinically researched ingredients that include caffeine, B vitamins, and other energy-stimulating nutrients. And it's perfect whether you're working out, gaming, studying, or during those intimate times with your partner. Not only does Energy Boost give you sustained, powerful energy, it's also specifically formulated to avoid those negative effects that I was talking about that some people experience with just consuming caffeine alone. I'm a massive coffee drinker. I can tell you the crash is no fun, right? We all know that. Those of us that are Starbucks aficionados or wherever you may get your coffee, we all know what that does. This is not going to give you that crash. And Vitali Boost, by the way, is a leader in the supplement energy market, and customers absolutely love them. Right now, they have a 92% 5-star review on Judge Me. It's a third-party review platform that only accepts reviews from verified purchases, so you know they're not just creating these manufactured reviews. These are real people reviewing the product, honestly, and 92% is an amazing 5-star rating review. So check out Energy Boost today, risk-free. You can go to vitaliboost.com. Again, that's VITALI boost.com. You use our promo code WWE for a discount. But if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the science behind Energy Boost, visit my Vitali Boost's health guide at vitaliboost.com. Again, VITALI boost.com. And right there, you'll find information from peer-reviewed academic journals about the active ingredients in all of Vitali Boost's supplements. All of these supplements, by the way, are made in the United States. That's cool. And a reminder, go to vitaliboost.com and use our promo code WWE. You'll get a discount on the Energy Boost and all of their other great supplements. So don't miss out, guys. Go check out Energy Boost. And again, it's vitaliboost.com, VITALI boost.com.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my honor. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, everybody, let's get into your Monday Night Raw review for this Tuesday, January 18th, 2022, and the Royal Rumble is a mere 11 days away. So much speculation, still so many scenarios that can play out. That has been the running theme over the last several shows, whether it's the mailbag, SmackDown, Raw, weekend reviews. We just don't know what's going to happen with so many different possibilities that you could get lost in one of those 100 rabbit holes for an entire show, because that's the way WWE has set themselves up here. I mean, and it really, I think, manifested when Roman Reigns tested positive for COVID and was taken out of the main event of the pay-per-view. And now we're left with chaos, confusion, and no explanations why people can cross brands. I'm going to try not to get into that. I seem to get into that every show, but they keep doing it, and we keep getting no answer. Like this past Monday, the Usos show up on SmackDown. Why was there not security, even pretending to chase the Usos? Why are they, why are they trying to get revenge on Seth, who didn't attack them? I mean, I guess it's to make the statement. And here, you know what? Can we just put the gauntlet down for a challenge for Corey Graves and for Byron Saxton and really Jimmy Smith, who has unfortunately adopted the corporate speak. I would love to put out a challenge to all three men to stay away from the word statement, message, or the phrase mind games. I'd love to have them do a broadcast. It's almost like they can make it like a trend. Can they just stay away from those three phrases? Is it possible? Can they just maybe pull out a thesaurus and take a look at it and realize there are other words they can say, or is this the only corporately approved language? I don't know. I'm sure they have like a little handbook of things that are only allowable, right? The things that they can say, need to say, and have a quota to say. But let's get to Monday Night Raw and the details, not my rants and little nitpicks that you guys don't care about. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw, because overall, I thought the show was fine. I thought it was fine. It wasn't stellar. I don't think it was terrible. And you see this trend. If you've been watching wrestling for say, a couple of years, you notice that the second to last show is usually not their best foot forward. Because by then, especially for Raw, that extra hour is killer with the amount of content that they have to come up with and the creative that they have to spend time and energy coming up with, that the second to last show is never the best one. It's always it's their last gasp of creativity before they get to their final show, and they know where they want to go before the pay-per-view. I think they have a destination in mind where they'd like things to be left off right before the pay-per-view. But boy, that pay-per-view before the last one, the show before the last go-home show is usually very ho-hum. You never get the big entrances. Usually, like, Brock Lesnar wasn't there. Roman Reigns didn't show up. I don't expect Roman to, but who knows these days with people just crossing brands. No explanation. But you don't get a whole lot of that. Instead, you get video packages, which is a lot of what we saw Monday night. Not for me to be complaining. I'd only be complaining, I guess, if I was in the arena and I see these video packages and I'm like, yeah, I could be home watching this. Why did I spend several $100s in tickets, gas, food, and time away from my life to come here and watch something I was sitting on my couch watching? But video packages this week were really good. And specifically, I think the Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley program that they promoted was top notch. So let me dive into the first thing here and talk about something really good, which I don't know if it's an insult, because I'm talking about something that was just manufactured by the video editing team and not something that necessarily creative did to further the storyline. Although you could say that them creating the video package was furthering the storyline, which it did. But I thought this was really well done, and it's exactly what we needed in this program. It's exactly what we needed. We needed to see their careers being paralleled. We needed to see commentary from Bobby Lashley being just Bobby Lashley, which we saw on the podcast that Corey Graves does after the bell, and which, by the way, and I don't believe this was purposeful. Okay, I don't think we are that big yet, but that said, Corey Graves did say the official WWE podcast, and then he paused and said, after the bell. So I don't know if I guess I'll leave you to speculate. I guess it's the more fun assumption there is that he is differentiating from us. Obviously, we are the unofficial WWE podcast, and he is a part of the official WWE podcast. So I don't know. I guess it's fun to imagine that they actually acknowledge us here, but it's possible. Anyway, again, that was great from Bobby Lashley. I really enjoyed what he had said about Brock Lesnar. You look into his eyes and the man just has no soul, and how he doesn't care who he hurts. He doesn't care if he gets hurt. He said, that's the challenge I want. That's the challenge I need. Now, we're going to see them in a professional wrestling ring. We're not going to see them in MMA. Are there going to be real things going on in this matchup? I think to a degree, there'll be some real elements. Do I think there'll be any real punches? Probably not. So those that are dreaming of a Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley MMA octagon style encounter, I think you're going to be sadly mistaken. There'll be some real things which are going to be a lot of fun to watch, but mostly it's going to be about 90% just WWE style wrestling with like 10% of their own flavor and element of realism being brought to this, which is their MMA styles. So that'll it's still going to be fun. It's still going to be fun. And you know what? This as I said a few minutes ago, this is exactly what this program needed. Was not Brock joking around or disrespecting Bobby, saying that, you know, I didn't even know who you were, all that stuff, which you noticed they took out of the video package, which was a good idea. And I think Brock just took it a little too far last week, saying he didn't know who Bobby was. I think that was a really bad move on Brock's part, and I did not enjoy that line. But this package, I think, righted the wrong, and it brought both stars to the center stage, and it gave you an education on both of their pasts and how they have somehow never encountered one another inside of a ring, and that this is a big deal. And the background they gave on Brock, the background they gave on Bobby Lashley was just really good. It was great. It wasn't good. It was great. And this is, one of the muscles that WWE flexes, and rightfully so, are their video editing team that somehow just continue to pump out gem after gem. Not everything's great, but they, as a whole, have probably the best record of continuously creating great content. I mean, they have seemingly world-class video editors on their team, and the turnaround time sometimes for what they have to produce in like a day or two, it's just crazy. And I am giving props to, yes, a little bit to creative, who came up with the idea to do a video package. I mean, they had to do something this week if they didn't have Brock Lesnar in the arena. But really, not just to the idea to do a video package and further the story, but most of my credit going to the video editing team, who I don't think get the credit they deserve a lot of the time. They're often the forgotten heroes of pro wrestling. Video editors, if that's the proper title, I'm not sure. Maybe they content creators, I don't know what you call them now. But they are the real unsung heroes of pro wrestling, especially in WWE, because they, in just a couple of minutes, can get you invested in a story, where it takes WWE sometimes months to get you to invest in a story. They can get you in a moment, right? It's amazing. They can take a story that is just awful. They could probably make the Katie Vick story look interesting. They probably could. They could make Gene Snitsky look interesting. I'm going way back for those of you that remember Gene Snitsky. I mean, they really have done so much for the company and made storylines look interesting and feel important when they had no business being important. And so anyway, props to the video editing team, who did an excellent job this week again. And it's the exact medicine the doctor ordered to continue to progress this story. And next week will be the go-home show. I would presume Brock will be there. Brock is normally on these go-home shows and has been since he returned to WWE. So I fully expect them to go face-to-face, maybe a small physical interaction where, Brock goes for the F5 and Lashley then goes for the spear, and it's a stalemate, and that's it. That's what I fully expect. I don't expect anybody to get the one-up, so to speak. I could be wrong. Maybe Brock hits an F5 or Lashley spears him. Who knows? But I fully expect that it should be a stalemate. That's how I'd book it anyway, is a stalemate where they each go for their finish, both block the other's finish, and they retreat to their exits. And that's probably how the show ends, with the commentary team hyping the holy hell out of this. And they should. We don't know if we'll ever see this again. We don't. And I still don't know who's going to win this. I still don't. There's a very real possibility Bobby Lashley walks away with that championship. And there's equally as strong of a possibility that Brock Lesnar retains. There's so many different elements to this of not just straight up, but does somebody cheat to win and turn heel, like Brock turning heel? What about Paul Heyman? He's floating around. With Paul Heyman floating around, and you also have Roman Reigns floating around, does he interfere in this match? There's so many things I can't even. It's crazy, right? So anyway, started out with a big positive here. Shout out to the video editing team who just continue to pump out just amazing work. So, all right. Then let's get to another topic here. And Maurice wanted a face-to-face, a woman-to-woman chat with Beth Phoenix. And this was done out of desperation on the part of Maurice and also kind of a setup, I think. Although I don't know if it's really a setup given that The Miz just kind of came out of the crowd or wherever he came from at the end of the segment. I think it was sincere by Maurice to call off the match, and then when that didn't work, plan B was to have The Miz just come out and Edge and Miz brawl, and we get Maurice attacking Beth Phoenix from behind. There's really no reason to have Beth Phoenix turn around. I mean, it was just so blatantly obvious that she just like, oh, that's right, I got to turn around so she can attack me from behind. It was almost like this epiphany of like, oh crap, I got to turn around, and it wasn't the smoothest transition ever, but we get the idea. It's Maurice using her purse, which, by the way, what the hell is in her purse to knock her to the ground and basically knock Beth Phoenix out cold? What is she carrying in there? A piece of lead? Like, was there a rock in that purse? I mean, the purse was essentially just like a clutch, as you girls used to call it, or maybe still do. I remember when clutches were huge. Every girl would like bring one to the club and all that. So it looked more like a clutch, and it looked flat. Didn't look like anything was in it, and she just used it. I thought it was her shoe at first. Her shoe would have made more sense. Like if she had high heels on and hit Beth Phoenix in the head or something. But this was like the mid-back where she used her flat, empty clutch purse to hit Beth Phoenix. And she sold it like she just got shot. And to me, it was an oversell, but I understand the premise of it. I'm not ranting. I don't hate it. I get it. And I'm fine with it. I really am. And for everything I just dismantled about it and just took the logic and threw it out the window, I did enjoy it because I understood what the mission was, and I think it was still mission accomplished. It felt like they almost didn't know what to do with them this week, and that's why I say next week it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out in the final Raw before the pay-per-view, or excuse me, before the premiere live event of the Royal Rumble. I'm just going to call it event before the Royal Rumble event. So a lot to continue to unpack here on the Monday Night Raw review. But before we move on, the last thing I'll say about this Miz and Edge thing, I'm actually glad that Edge feuded with the Miz. While there are many other respectable opponents he has to get to, this pit stop is okay for me because as much of a non-Miz fan as I am when he's with Morrison, that's no longer the case. And Edge and Miz, I think Edge is elevating Miz. Maurice is a decent heel. She's got some weird broken French English that sometimes I have a hard time understanding what she says. But this segment I think was fine. And she was trying to call off the match, realizing that she had backed herself into a corner, realizing that that her mouth has gotten her in trouble. And Beth Phoenix did not call off the match and got face-to-face with Maurice. So it was okay. It was fine. It was nothing that you'll ever really remember. This segment on Monday Night Raw will be forgotten. Probably after I'm done mentioning it, we probably won't talk about it again because it's just a very small thing on the way to the eventuality of the story, which is probably Edge winning, hopefully, for his team, or maybe Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix. Right now, if I was going to make the call, I'd say Beth Phoenix gets the victory. And I know many people are saying that she's going to get it over the Miz. I hope they don't do that, because it's mixed tag rules. Mixed tag team rules say genders have to compete with one another. So I have very strong suspicions they will not adhere to that. Okay, let's continue on here. Let's see what else we got on the docket here. We did get the interruption from RK Bro on the graduation ceremony. And I got to say, Chad Gable and Otis have really overachieved since putting them together. You know, when they put them together, if you guys remember, when they originally got together as a tag team, Otis was still the, food-loving, holly jolly, rumbling, tumbling belly. Gotta, use him as my comedy relief and enhance his, or highlight his obsession with food and all this nonsense. But when they got together, it was really, the dynamic was that Chad Gable was the heel, Otis was the babyface, and Chad Gable was using Otis to win matches, and that Otis was just too gullible and lovable to see through that. And we all thought, and I did too at the time, that it was going to be eventually Otis realizing he's being played for a fool and going crazy on Chad Gable, and that never happened. They just continued with them as a tag team, and I think, as I look back, it was still the best decision because it keeps Otis in the serious lane, not in the subway line, or really the dessert line, to be more accurate. It keeps him in a relevant path with a relevant team, and they have chemistry together. They seemingly gel very well in the ring together. They are actual really best friends in real life. That's cool, and I didn't know that. So there's a lot going on with these guys that I enjoy more than I thought I would, especially at the beginning. And this graduation ceremony was fun, but you knew eventually it was going to get interrupted. And it did, by Riddle, who talked about smoking or something. And he I think he knew what people thought it was with marijuana, and it wasn't, but he had that quick second where he let people think that. And we get Riddle coming down and ultimately getting another opportunity with Randy to challenge for the tag team titles on the condition that they, meaning Randy and Riddle, compete with them in an academics challenge next week or something. I think it's an Alpha Academy challenge. It's something of they're going to be doing some kind of, I don't know, trivia or something with Otis and Chad Gable next week. So they've already set the table for that next week. But in exchange for that acceptance, they did accept the tag team title rematch. So we get Riddle and we get Randy next or on the Royal Rumble for the tag team titles against Alpha Academy. Now Randy snuck in and gave an RKO to Chad Gable. That was fun. And then Randy put on the tassel and the hat and the graduation robe. I don't even know what you call it. I don't know the name of the garments, but he essentially looked like he was graduating college. And Mr. Fun Loving Randy seemingly is okay. And I still don't believe that this team survives past Rumble. I just have a sneaking suspicion that this team doesn't last beyond the Rumble. So I'll get more into that on my official preview and prediction show that comes your way next week, late next week, not this week. So, all right, what else happened on Monday Night Raw? Let's move over to the women's side and talk about Doudrop and Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan. So this matchup was fine. It's weird. Doudrop's a heel, Becky Lynch is a heel, and they're going against the two established baby faces. And the match was fine. I'm still weirded out by the heel thing, but that's how you know when you've run out of opponents. WWE goes to heel versus heel. Hell, they're doing it on SmackDown. They couldn't even find anybody on SmackDown worthy enough to face Roman, or somebody that Roman hasn't already destroyed. They had to bring in somebody from Raw with no explanation and have him be a heel to face Roman. And that's how you know they are running thin on talent to work with Roman. But on the female side here with this tag team matchup, I have to say, while Doudrop is a talking point in this match because of her dominant performance, the other story here, maybe equally as much, is Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan and her really just her descent right now. Because she not only has lost match after match. I mean, seriously, since she has entered the women's championship picture, I don't think she's gotten a victory. I mean, maybe on a random Raw she has, but her record over the last couple of months has got to be putrid. And yet she's still involved in the women's title match. So I'm not talking about records and all that stuff, because sometimes records, and I know AEW does it, But if you're gonna keep wins and losses and only have this person compete for a championship because they have more wins in their win column than losses, and that it gets very sticky because you're backing yourself into a corner. And so I see why WWE doesn't do it, and I appreciate AEW doing the win-loss record, but that said, I don't know how I got on that. As far as this matchup goes, it was fine. Doudrop hit a splash on Morgan. The match opened the show after all 4 women argued in the ring. So Balor and Morgan also officially entered the Rumble because, they just declare it. Oh, so much declaring. I feel like Michael Scott. You got fans of The Office. Fans of The Office will remember this one, right? When he says that he's declaring bankruptcy. Well, hell, why don't I just let you listen?
I declare bankruptcy!
I never talked about The Office on this show because I don't know why. It just never has come up, but God, I love that show. The Office is great. I think I've watched it through full every episode at least twice, maybe 3 times. So good. God, it's so good. And you appreciate it more every single time. And those that work in an office like I do, it resonates even more, the just insanity that goes on in the show. So anyway, yeah, so lots of declaring going on around here, yet some people have to qualify, some people don't. If all it takes is just to declare, well, everyone should just, immediately when when Rumble season rolls around, just like tweet out, I declare I'm in the Rumble, right? And then the first 30 that declare it are in, and then everyone else that doesn't declare it, they're out. So, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. And I know they can't do, 15 or rather 30 qualifier matches. I understand that they can't, but okay. I mean, I have more issues with the Rumble than just that. But I love the Rumble, but some things can just be easily fixed and they don't. So this match was fine. It was all about highlighting Doudrop and her dominance, and that's fine. Liv Morgan again taking the pinfall shows you where she's fallen to, not really winning a match in 2 months, even though she's part of the women's championship conversation. The one thing I would also take exception to are 2 things. The promos that preceded, or rather came before this matchup, was Becky Lynch at the top of the show opens the show and says that the women's division has never been hotter. Yeah, I'm fairly... No, Becky, stop. I understand that you're supposed to start the show off hot. You want to get the crowd excited. That you want to make everything appear as important and as big as possible. That's the job of especially the person opening the show. You got to have a lot of energy. You got to get people invested right away. Try to make things appear more important than they actually are, or hotter than they actually are. I just couldn't continue here on the show without mentioning that, but Becky Lynch, like, stop it. The women's division has never been hotter. Really? Oh, it's never been hotter? Are you talking about the women's division as a whole? Because if you are, then the women's tag team division essentially is going unopposed. I mean, there isn't a women's tag team division. There isn't one. You're telling me it's hotter than when Ronda Rousey was there? Surely you can't mean that. I mean, so stop. Just stop. It's never been hotter. I mean, I had to just laugh. It's such a corporate thing to say, isn't it? Just to make them appear like the things have never been hotter. Everything's at a boiling point. Blah, blah, blah. Stop it. Anyway, Bianca Belair also, and it's not just Bianca on this. I love Bianca. Huge fan. Hall of Famer in the making. I mean, she's already there, essentially. She honestly, Bianca Belair could end her career today, and there would probably be some consideration for her entering the Hall of Fame. That's how much of an impact she's had thus far. I mean, so it's amazing. I'm not saying she is a bona fide Hall of Famer right now, but she, at least, if her career ended tomorrow, God forbid, I think there's a discussion to at least be had. But anyway, what I was going to get to was when Bianca talked about throwing 29 other women over the top rope. Again, stop. Please stop the pain. I mean, and again, it's not Bianca. It's not necessarily her fault, unless she just felt the need to say this, because everybody seems to say this in their promos leading into the Rumble, that they're going to be the ones to throw 29 other superstars over the top rope. No, you're not. You're telling me that if you come in number 27 and there's been, 80% of the roster has already been eliminated, of which you had no say in and no credit to be taken that you came in number 27 and 80% of the roster has already been eliminated. Then you come in and you make like maybe 3 eliminations and win the Rumble that you somehow defeated 29 other stars. No, you didn't. Stop. You're not gonna throw 29 others. Stop it. That needs to stop. That bothers me every single time. It's infuriating because do they really think that we're that stupid? Here's a better phrase, and somebody did say this too, is that they're going to outlast 29 other people. Fine. I'm a little more accepting of that you outlast them. But to insinuate that you're going to be the singular force of which throws out every single person, which is what they're saying, that's the exception I take. Now, to outlast 29 other stars would also imply that you would all start at the same time, of which you don't. So there's that. But I'd at least accept it on the merit that you are true. I mean, in reality, you are outlasting 29 other people that have entered this match, even though it's not at the same time. Again, details, but easily fixable details. And it's just one of those things. So I don't know about you guys. What do you think about that? Are you just not infuriated, but as annoyed? Just annoyed by when they have every single person that comes on the mic say they're going to, throw over or defeat 29 other superstars. No, you're not. Anybody else get annoyed by that? Maybe it's just me. But if not, don't worry. We still have, a couple of shows to go of SmackDown and Raw. One more Raw and 2 more SmackDowns to go until the Rumble. So I'm sure we will hear more people talk about defeating 29 or throwing 29 other stars over the top rope. We'll get to hear it more. So maybe it'll annoy you just as much as me. All right. So let's take a pause here. We're going to give some love to the sponsor of the show, and then we'll be back with more Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about supplements for just a minute. The market of supplements is overcrowded, right? It's oversaturated. There's too many to choose from. You just don't know which one you want. You don't know which one's effective, what has potential harmful side effects. Well, I have one that I can tell you with confidence is not only not going to give you any of those negative side effects, but also will provide you with the energy that's sustainable. It doesn't have those crashes. And the product I'm talking about is called Energy Boost. It's from a company called Vitali Boost, and they sell a bunch of other great products. But you can check out the website at vitaliboost.com. That's VITALI boost.com. So what makes Energy Boost so great? Well, it's made from natural, clinically researched ingredients that include caffeine, B vitamins, and other energy-stimulating nutrients. And it's perfect whether you're working out, gaming, studying, or during those intimate times with your partner. Not only does Energy Boost give you sustained, powerful energy, it's also specifically formulated to avoid those negative effects that I was talking about that some people experience with just consuming caffeine alone. I'm a massive coffee drinker. I can tell you the crash is no fun, right? We all know that. Those of us that are Starbucks aficionados or wherever you may get your coffee, we all know what that does. This is not going to give you that crash. And Vitali Boost, by the way, is a leader in the supplement energy market, and customers absolutely love them. Right now, they have a 92% 5-star review on Judge Me. It's a third-party review platform that only accepts reviews from verified purchases, so you know they're not just creating these manufactured reviews. These are real people reviewing the product, honestly, and 92% is an amazing 5-star rating review. So check out Energy Boost today, risk-free. You can go to vitaliboost.com. Again, that's VITALI boost.com. You use our promo code WWE for a discount. But if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the science behind Energy Boost, visit my Vitali Boost's health guide at vitaliboost.com. Again, VITALI boost.com. And right there, you'll find information from peer-reviewed academic journals about the active ingredients in all of Vitali Boost's supplements. All of these supplements, by the way, are made in the United States. That's cool. And a reminder, go to vitaliboost.com and use our promo code WWE. You'll get a discount on the Energy Boost and all of their other great supplements. So don't miss out, guys. Go check out Energy Boost. And again, it's vitaliboost.com, VITALI boost.com.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us, and let's get into a little bit more Monday Night Raw. Damian Priest and Kevin Owens have a matchup. Kevin assures Damian that he wants just a clean, straight-up match. Damian, backstage, is very hesitant to believe Kevin Owens, rightfully so. And Kevin Owens feigns a knee injury, allowing him to blindside the United States champion Damian Priest with a stunner and got the victory. So this program is not over. Not over by any stretch of the imagination, Kevin Owens and Damian Priest. And I expect some solid stuff from both. And Damian Priest, who has suddenly found this alter ego dark character that only comes out when it's triggered. And we never, by the way, if it's always been there, why wasn't it there during, WrestleMania last year? Like, where did this all of a sudden come from? I mean, they are not going to explain it. And why does he call it Damien? That's just your name, bro. I mean, you can't use your name and then call the alter ego also the same name. Like, come up with another name. It's just weird. I know you don't want the Damien coming out. Oh, you mean yourself? Like, that's your name. Pretty lame. I mean, that's about as lame as it gets, is to call the alter ego or the darker part of you the same thing that everyone else calls you. It's just, what? So, again, I'm a fan of him. I'm a fan of Damian Priest, and I love his voice. God, he's got such a commanding voice. He's really good in the ring. He's got a great presence. All that. I do like Damian Priest, but it was just a little weird that he calls it the same name as his first name. Anyway, Kevin Owens does get the victory, which is clearly going to bring out Damien from Mr. Priest. How about that? I guess I'm differentiating it that way. So we'll get that darker side of Damien probably next week, and this program will continue. But it's fun to see Kevin Owens in another program with somebody different. I do have to say that. Okay, moving on. Austin Theory defeats Finn Balor. This is a very heel-heavy night, guys. Austin Theory defeats Finn Balor via pinfall after hitting the ATL. Before the match, Vince McMahon threatened to break every bone in Theory's body if he failed to win. Theory also attacked Balor after the match. So, again, why the hell does Vince McMahon care about Austin Theory beating Finn Balor? Does he have a vendetta against Finn Balor? Or did he suddenly decide to pick Austin Theory out of, his ass and decide, I like this kid this week. And then it's just continuing. This weirdness of Vince McMahon. Again, we've gone over his voice that is just, at this point, unintelligible. There should be subtitles for things, when he speaks. There should be something there, just out of courtesy to the audience. But, like, what is happening with Finn Balor, or rather, not just Finn Balor losing, who's been on a massive losing streak as of late, take out the victory he had over Austin Theory a couple of weeks ago, and Finn Balor's on a complete nosedive. But Austin Theory, when you hear the crowd reaction for him, there was almost nothing. Tulsa gave him like nothing. So this rub that Vince McMahon thinks he's giving Austin Theory, this push, quote unquote, that he's giving Austin Theory, it's not resulting in any kind of audible difference in crowd response to him. So I'll ask again, what are we after here? What exactly are we after with Austin Theory, Vince? And why are we wasting a Vince McMahon appearance, which used to be really special? It used to feel like, okay, something big's about to go down. Why are we wasting several Vince McMahon appearances for a guy that they're trying to apparently just, take from NXT, and we're going to make him a star? And yet it's gone nowhere. And he's also being demoralized by his boss, threatened and slapped and humiliated and demasculinized on a weekly basis, neutered. That's a much easier word to say. Neutered on a weekly basis, and now threatened physically by his boss. And Austin Theory just cowers at Vince McMahon and shakes in his presence. How exactly does that help Austin Theory? Explain that. What? Just because he shares the screen with you? I don't think so. Even the the great Vince McMahon doesn't have that power. So, and then Finn Balor on the other side is getting, just beaten week after week after week after week after week. Again, Finn Balor's had, one victory over Austin Theory, which is really his only victory in about 3 months. Since falling off the top rope with the Demon character against Roman Reigns several pay-per-views ago, that literally and figuratively and symbolically represented his fall from grace. I don't know if that was on purpose. I'm guessing not. But now that I think about it, it's poetic. Maybe the universe just decided to have a sense of humor there, because the rope breaks, he falls, and Finn Balor's been falling ever since. So, all right. Nikki ASH attacked Rhea Ripley before their planned match, and when Ripley was distracted by Queen Zelina and Carmella, Nikki took advantage to deliver a beating, resulting in the match never beginning again. This is like the fourth heel heat driven night or a segment of the show. I mean, you have Kevin Owens beating Damian Priest. You had Austin Theory defeating Finn Balor. Nikki attacking Rhea. There was another thing I forgot too that I just talked about. Yeah, there were several things here. Oh, we had Doudrop and Becky Lynch beating Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan. So, this is a very, very heel-heavy night. And, specifically on this segment here, Queen Zelina, who I am a huge fan of Zelina Vega, but, look, if you're just going to adopt the most generic, evil, egomaniacal, pretend queen or king gimmick on everybody that wins the king or queen of the ring, then just do away with it. I don't understand the reasoning behind everyone who wins having to adopt this. Now, they're trying to make Xavier Woods they're trying to adopt it in a way that's a little bit more endearing and likable. To some people that appeals. I mean, obviously I despise Xavier Woods' personality, so it doesn't do anything for me. But with Zelina Vega, it's better than doing nothing. It's better than her not on TV. But the fake British accent, which is blatantly fake, but also annoying. Like, she's not trying to hide it. WWE's not trying to pretend that she suddenly can speak or has an actual legitimate, authentic British accent. But it's also just very generic. It's very generic. It's very shallow. There's the word. It's extremely shallow, one-dimensional. And I don't like how they've suddenly made this a requirement that everyone, becomes delusional after they win the Queen's crown or the King of the Ring. Everyone should not go through the same exact character change after winning this. And right now that's the case. Everybody just drinks the same potion and boom, poof, magically they are a king or a queen with a British accent using generic hear ye language, subjects, scepter, you name it. Let's go through the, basically the Disney checklist of everything that a king or queen says. It's I don't know. All right. But nonetheless, this was having Zelina and Carmella come out and use their distraction methods to get to Rhea Ripley did allow Nikki ASH to beat down Rhea Ripley. And it was very similar to the Maurice and Beth Phoenix angle, where they were distracted, turned for a moment, and then they got hit from behind. So, yeah, I didn't hate it. Again, you're not going to hear me complain when you see Nikki ASH finally be the one, or finally turn heel and go through this character change that is beyond needed, and I believe will work. Now, the crowd reaction wasn't stellar. To be honest, the crowd reaction for everyone last night wasn't the best. It was a very subdued Tulsa crowd, not exactly known for their boisterousness, and maybe having that happen on a Monday night where people have to work the next day doesn't help, and there wasn't a whole lot to cheer for. Plus, the big stars weren't there in Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns, and you also got a lot of video packages, and it was a heel-heavy night. So the crowd was subdued, but maybe they had a reason to be. So, all right. Let's move on to Omas versus Reggie. You knew exactly what was going to happen in this match, and unfortunately, it's exactly what happened. Not that there are too many Reggie fans out there, okay? He's not breaking merchandise records and they squash somebody that they shouldn't have squashed. I mean, you have Reggie being beaten by women on the roster on a weekly basis. So for him to lose to Omas is no stretch of the imagination. It is very believable, and it should have been as such. But can we get to a point where Omas is actually somewhat challenged? Can we get to that point, or are we not ready yet? Are we still just going to go through this squash? Omas takes zero offense. I mean, they've actually drawn it even further back, where I used to say he hasn't lost a match. Then I realized he hasn't even left his feet. Then I realized he hasn't even taken a finish from anyone. Now they've dialed it back where he's not even taking any offense. He just stares meanly at people, roars, and people, fall to the ground in submission. It's getting pretty crazy with Omas. I don't know if that's a complaint or not. It sounded like I was going to ultimately end up at that destination of Complaint City, but I don't know. What I do know is that I do want Omas to go the other way at some point. Like, we need a real challenge for Omas. I want to see if he can put on a decent match given his size. And look, we can't look at Omas and have the same standards as we do for like a Ricochet. I mean, please. The standards of a pro wrestling match today have unfortunately been manipulated into this high flying style, no selling fireworks show of a presentation, and that's not my favorite. But I do like Omas, and his size automatically creates a different match because he can't do those things, and he's going to have a slower match. But I do need someone to step up to him. I want to see Brock Lesnar and him go face to face at the Rumble, some kind of interaction. I don't want a match with them, but just that face to face, and maybe Brock hits an F5 and Omas no sells it or something. I don't know. So that is really what I want for Omas, because right now they are spinning their wheels with him. And I don't want the constant squash matches for Omas. But he won, if you're keeping track at home. He beat Reggie with a choke bomb. What's the difference between that and a choke slam? The name. That's it. Okay. The Street Profits and the Mysterios defeat the Dirty Dogs, Commander Aziz, and Apollo Crews when Montez Ford hit Crews with a frog splash. So Apollo Crews continues his downward slide as well. There is no stopping this. He is effectively at the bottom of the pile at this point, and that's a sad thing. I'm a big fan of Apollo Crews since his heel turn. Going back to his Nigerian heritage, I think it was an excellent turn. One of the quickest turnarounds I've ever seen in a character, to be from just completely irrelevant to relevant and caring about the character in like a week. And since last year's WrestleMania, he's been on a downward slide and has not stopped. But really, the whole match just is getting to one point, right? The whole match, it feels like it's building to just wanting WWE to get that replay of Montez Ford from the heavens. And we can hear the announcers lose their minds about how it's inhuman and, oh my God, he's almost out of frame and how this isn't possible. Yet they see it on a weekly basis. And again, I know I'm not hating on Montez Ford. I think he's a future WWE champion. I believe that. But it feels like they're just building to that every week, every single time they have a match. It's just waiting for that replay of Montez Ford. Like, I feel like it needs to be more than that. But then at the end of this match, everybody's tossing each other out of the ring. Even Rey Mysterio turns on Dominic and throws him out of the ring. At first, I was like, ooh, this could be something. But I think it's going to just be a lesson to his son. They got to teach you, son, you can't turn your back at the Rumble. It's every man for themselves. That's essentially the way I took it. I didn't take it as a hint that Rey Mysterio and Dominic could be splitting up. I think they started it, then they stopped it, unfortunately. But so yeah, they have their normal. Everybody's tossing over, each other. Everybody's tossing everyone else over the top rope, and we probably get a big one of those at the end of Raw next week or something stupid. And everyone's just essentially playing pretend. And then you'll hear the announcers say, "Imagine if that was the Rumble on Sunday, they'd be eliminated," or on Saturday. You're going to hear a whole lot of that. So, sorry, I'm not trying to spoil it, but I do foresee that coming. So, that was... Oh, and the Hurt Business. Let's talk about the main event. Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley defeats Seth Rollins via disqualification after interference by, you guessed it, the Hurt Business. Rollins had worked over Lashley's knee, which I thought was actually really well done. I enjoyed the selling by Lashley was great. It was a competitive match. I'm reading CBS Sports. For those that think I'm reading, I am. and before Cedric and Shelton showed up and attacked Lashley at ringside, which caused the DQ. The attack was eventually cut off when Lashley took them both out, at which point the Usos jumped in the ring and hit Rollins with a double super kick, leaving both the Royal Rumble World Title challengers upset as the show went off the air. And here's what CBS Sports said about this main event. It was strange to see this pairing set up for a match. They're big names, but as both challenge for titles at the Rumble, it seemed a large no-win situation to have them face off, as they should be building up steam as the title matches draw near. The DQ keeps either from really taking a loss, but neither leaves the show looking stronger than they came in. The best stuff came outside the match with a great video package for Lashley and Brock. Yep, agreed. Yep, yes. And they gave it a C+. It's exactly right. I mean, you can't have either one win and lose clean because both are heading into huge matches at the Rumble. You can't. And I understand CBS's take on this. You want both elevated. So to put them together, again, tells you that they are running out of ideas for Raw. They're running out of content. And the second to last show is a show I would avoid most of the time. So, because next week they just they bring everything to a boiling point. They've got a place to end because they know the programs largely end at the Rumble. Like they can finally drive to that destination, where this week was just another holdover, a 3-hour holdover. So as far as the KO show goes, here's what CBS Sports said. I didn't really comment too much about the KO show. Owens propped up Rollins to encourage for going to SmackDown, encouraged him that and gave him props for going to SmackDown to get in Roman's face. Rollins said that Reigns is scared ahead of the Royal Rumble showdown. Rollins also said that he would bring the Universal title from SmackDown to Raw, and Owens announced his entry into the Royal Rumble match and said that after he won, he would face Rollins in the biggest WrestleMania main event ever, before being interrupted by Damian Priest. So, again, just there's not a whole lot here. Like, I mean, having Owens being in the Royal Rumble match itself, expected. Having Rollins run down Roman Reigns and call him this name, that name, and taking candy from a baby and all that kind of stuff, which very, very generic. This was a very ho-hum, just barely, I'd say just an average Raw. And I'd give it like a C. You know, it was exactly just a Raw that is, if you miss this week and you just skip from last week to next week, you won't miss a thing. That's the way I feel about this Monday Night Raw. So it wasn't the most exciting for those in Tulsa, but hey, we did get the Usos, who took all their travel time. They took time away from their families and took a separate flight and all this stuff to get to the arena, check into a hotel, to just do a single move to Seth Rollins, just a double super kick and leave. No security around them. They acted as if security was around them, but they weren't. Nobody was trying to get them out of the arena. And boy, they just hit him and then left. So I hope that hope all those travel expenses were worth it. All right. So anyway, guys, it sounds like I'm down on Raw. I'm just kind of ho-hum about it. It wasn't the most spectacular Raw, but I expect next week to be a little bit more engaging, especially as that's the go-home show. So, all right. Well, I believe that is it for your Monday Night Raw review. And I should have done this at the beginning of the show. I simply forgot, but I wanted to give a shout out to our latest patron joining us there on patreon.com. You can do the same and join us there at patreon.com and search for the WWE podcast and go ad free for $1. Get, join in the Discord server and a bunch of other cool stuff, including this shout out you're about to hear. This is a shout out to somebody who wants to be known as the Stranger. Yes, the Stranger. So, Mr. Stranger, thank you so much for your patronage and your support, and enjoy the hundreds of episodes we have ad free. Everybody, thank you so much for your support as well. If you're listening to this, you're supporting us. Even if it's not in a monetary sense, you are supporting us just by listening. It helps with the algorithm, the downloads, and everything else. You can also give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or go ad-free on Apple Podcasts for the ad-free experience directly in the Apple Podcast app if you want to do that as well. Everybody, I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much for that. And tomorrow I'll be back with the mailbag. Hopefully you guys don't pound me into a 2.5 to 3 hour show. I love you guys, but boy, it's a lot of work, I got to say. So that said, please send your emails. If I have to split it into two parts to get it done, I have to do that, but I'll try not to. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. As always, take care, and I will talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Let's talk about supplements for just a minute. The market of supplements is overcrowded, right? It's oversaturated. There's too many to choose from. You just don't know which one you want. You don't know which one's effective, what has potential harmful side effects. Well, I have one that I can tell you with confidence is not only not going to give you any of those negative side effects, but also will provide you with the energy that's sustainable. It doesn't have those crashes. And the product I'm talking about is called Energy Boost. It's from a company called Vitali Boost, and they sell a bunch of other great products. But you can check out the website at vitaliboost.com. That's VITALI boost.com. So what makes Energy Boost so great? Well, it's made from natural, clinically researched ingredients that include caffeine, B vitamins, and other energy-stimulating nutrients. And it's perfect whether you're working out, gaming, studying, or during those intimate times with your partner. Not only does Energy Boost give you sustained, powerful energy, it's also specifically formulated to avoid those negative effects that I was talking about that some people experience with just consuming caffeine alone. I'm a massive coffee drinker. I can tell you the crash is no fun, right? We all know that. Those of us that are Starbucks aficionados or wherever you may get your coffee, we all know what that does. This is not going to give you that crash. And Vitali Boost, by the way, is a leader in the supplement energy market, and customers absolutely love them. Right now, they have a 92% 5-star review on Judge Me. It's a third-party review platform that only accepts reviews from verified purchases, so you know they're not just creating these manufactured reviews. These are real people reviewing the product, honestly, and 92% is an amazing 5-star rating review. So check out Energy Boost today, risk-free. You can go to vitaliboost.com. Again, that's VITALI boost.com. You use our promo code WWE for a discount. But if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the science behind Energy Boost, visit my Vitali Boost's health guide at vitaliboost.com. Again, VITALI boost.com. And right there, you'll find information from peer-reviewed academic journals about the active ingredients in all of Vitali Boost's supplements. All of these supplements, by the way, are made in the United States. That's cool. And a reminder, go to vitaliboost.com and use our promo code WWE. You'll get a discount on the Energy Boost and all of their other great supplements. So don't miss out, guys. Go check out Energy Boost. And again, it's vitaliboost.com, VITALI boost.com.